As cheerful as the season is, it's a sad reality that there's a fair share of crimes that happen during this time. Here's a peek into some of the most unsettling crimes that have ever happened on or around Christmas. The Santa Candy. 2009. In Parma, Ohio, a 12-year-old girl walked to school like any other day. But something unusual caught her attention. A man dressed as Santa Claus lurking in the bushes ahead. He called out to her, insisting that he had candy for her. The girl ignored him and continued on her way. However, the situation turned frightening when the 46-year-old man, Anthony Russo, started jogging towards her. Sensing danger, the girl sprinted, narrowly escaping his grasp several times. She raced to a nearby convenience store, barely managing to call the police in time. Russo vanished, later spotted boarding a bus, but authorities eventually caught and arrested him. They discovered he was mentally unstable and was still wearing the Santa suit almost a day later. The bizarre twist in this alarming incident was Russo's family revelation. His mother, Kay Russo, disclosed that she knew her son struggled with bipolar disorder and delusions, but there was nothing she could do. She mentioned his belief that his deceased father communicated with him, instructing him to give out candy. Despite his troubled state, Kay, his mother, described Anthony as a kind person who used his social security checks to help others. He rode a unicycle and occasionally stayed in homeless shelters or on top of buildings. All I can say here is he needs major help, and they should keep him away from children. The Italian Hall disaster. If you get an opportunity, look up the song called 1913 Massacre by Woody Guthrie. The song is about this horrific event. The Calumet and Hecla Mining Company, or C&H, was the single largest copper mining company in the copper country of northwest Michigan's Keweenaw Peninsula. In 1913, a strike that included all the C&H mines turned out to be one of the longest strikes that ever happened in copper country. The strike was called on July 23, 1913. The workers demanded a meeting with their employers about wages, hours, and working conditions. The strike continued until April 1914, which meant the miners and the mines were still at a standoff at Christmas of 1913. On Christmas Eve in 1913, hundreds of the striking miners and families had gathered for a Christmas party sponsored by the Ladies' Auxiliary. The party was being held at Calumet's Italian Hall on the second floor. The only way to get to the second floor was a steep stairway. There was also a poorly marked fire escape on the side of the building and ladders attached to the back of the building, which could only be reached by climbing out the windows. Everything was fine and everyone was having a great time until over 400 people had settled into the room. As everyone enjoyed the night, suddenly someone yelled "Fire!" as a joke, even though there was no fire. Attendees immediately panicked and rushed for the thin set of stairs. As the large crowd pushed their way into the thin staircase, it became an ensuing stampede. People screamed as their husbands, their wives, and their children were crushed. 73 people, including 59 children, were killed. To this day, there has been a lot of debate about who yelled fire and why. In early 1914, a subcommittee of the U.S. House of Representatives visited Copper Country to investigate the strike. They took sworn testimony from witnesses, where 8 eyewitnesses swore that the man who yelled fire was wearing a button on his coat for Citizens Alliance, an organization that opposed trade unions and strikes. There is a story regarding the tragedy circulating that states the doors at the bottom of the thin stairs opened inward. According to the story, when the fleeing partygoers reached the bottom of the stairs, they pressed up against the doors, preventing them from opening, and caused many people to be crushed. This is sadly a true story, and many have speculated how this could have been avoided. However, it did happen, and it was tragic. What do you think about these scary Christmas crimes? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.